Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next Science Interactive lab. I'm going to start off by going into the online labs course. And then I'm going to go to modules. And then I'm going to scroll down to the labs. And I'm going to choose validating DEA numbers. I'm going to load it in a new window. And then I should be at this spot. We're going to test our knowledge. All right, so we're going to match each drug schedule with the best description. So for the first box, we have drugs with a moderate to low potential for physical and psychological dependence. That is going to be a Schedule 3 drug. Next, we have drugs with a high potential for abuse, but with accepted medical uses are considered potentially dangerous. That is going to be Schedule 2 drugs. The next box, drugs with a lower potential for abuse and contain limited quantities of certain narcotics. And that is going to be Schedule 5. So this one here, we'll move over there. Drugs with no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. That's going to be Schedule 1. And then lastly, drugs with low potential for abuse or dependence. And that is going to be Schedule 4. All right. So label the output for each equation using validating a DEA number. So first value and second value equal third value. First digit plus third digit plus fifth digit equals first value. Second digit plus fourth digit plus sixth digit times 2 equals the second value. And you'll want to remember this because you will be asked this again. And then make sure that you really look over this table here. And it does give some good examples of medications that are in that schedule. So remember Schedule 1, those are drugs that have no approved medical use. So heroin, peyote, LSD. Schedule 2 drugs are going to be highly regulated and a high potential for abuse. That's going to be things like Vicodin, which is now, I think, only Norco, methadone and Adderall. Schedule 3 drugs, ketamine, and anabolic steroids, and products containing less than 90 milligrams of codeine per dose. Schedule 4 is where you're going to get your Xanax, Valium, and Tramadol. And then Schedule 5 has Lamodal, Lyrica, and products containing less than 200 milligrams of codeine per 100 ml. And then did you know, you can go ahead and read that. And we're going to go to question time. So drugs in blank will never be encountered in the pharmacy. And that's going to be Schedule 1 drugs. They have no approved medical use, so we would not ever have them in the pharmacy. Next, we're going to explore DEA numbers. So if you read this paragraph here, it's going to go more into detail on how we calculate DEA numbers to verify that they're legit. So we have the different types of entities. So if the person is a physician's assistant or a nurse practitioner, their DEA number is always going to start with M. The DEA number, if it starts with A, B, F, or G, it's either a hospital, clinic, a practitioner, so like a doctor, teaching institution, or pharmacy. So yes, pharmacies do have their own DEA number because we distribute out narcotics. So of course we have to have one. P&R are manufacturers, distributor, researcher, analytical lab, importer, exporter, reverse distributor, or a narcotic treatment program. And then the first six numbers of the DEA number are checked against the seventh digit to verify the number using the method displayed. So first digit plus third digit plus fifth digit is going to be the first value. Second digit and fourth digit and sixth digit times 2 is the second value. And then first value plus second value is the third value. The last digit of the third value should equal the seventh digit of the DEA number. If it does not, the DEA number is not authentic. Proceed to the next page for a demonstration of this method validating DEA numbers. So we're going to go to question time. The first letter of a DEA number represents blank. And that is going to be the prescribing entity type. So if it's a nurse practitioner, if it's a physician assistant, and if it's a doctor. And the doctor covers any doctor. So whether they are a podiatrist or a dermatologist or chiropractor or whatever, those are all would fall under the doctor prescribing entity. Right. So we are going to explore validating DEA numbers. So we're going to select begin in the animation below to walk through the steps for validating a DEA number for a prescription written by Dr. Proud. So here's the DEA number. We're going to hit begin. The first step is to validate the first two letters of the number. The DEA number starts with an A because the prescription was written by a primary practitioner, so doctor. And the second letter is F, which corresponds to the doctor's last name of Froud. So whenever you have a doctor, the second letter is always going to be the first initial of their last name. So let's go ahead and hit continue. The next step is to calculate the first value. So it just did it for us. So the first digit, so it wants us to use the first digit, which is 8, and then the third digit, which is 9, and then 7. Adding those all up, that is 24. So the next step is to calculate the second value. So we are going to take our second digit, which is 3, our fourth digit, which is 5, and our sixth digit, which is 3, and we're going to add those all up and then multiply it by 2, and we get 22. So I'm writing that down as well. And I suggest doing that if you have a little scratch paper next to you, just so you can kind of draw all of the relationships together and really know what we're talking about. The next step is to calculate the third value. So that is going to be the first value that we got. Remember, that was 24. And our second value, which was 22. And we're going to add those up, and that is 46. We're going to hit continue. The final step is to compare the last digit of the DEA number to the last digit of the third value. So we got 46. The second digit, the last digit is 6. And the last digit of our DEA number is also 6. So that means that this DEA number is valid. And that just kind of gives you a breakdown again. And if you want to go over it one more time, you can hit restart as many times as you'd like. We're going to go ahead and hit next. So we're going to review our answers. Remember, these are going to be asked again. Yours should have the answers saved. And then we're going to go to test your knowledge. So you'll do that again. And then you'll do this again. And you'll hit submit. Then yours should automatically take you to the experimentation overview, which is this page. All right, we're going to look at our materials that we need. So a pen or pencil, a piece of paper, and a calculator. And then we're going to go to verifying DEA numbers. Yours should take you directly to it. If it doesn't, just drop down that menu. So in this exercise, you will verify each DEA number associated with the prescribers presented below. So use the prescriber information provided in data table 1 and table 3 to verify the first two letters of the first DEA number presented in data table 1. So let's go to data table 1. Mind you, mine has all the answers already filled in. So yours should just have the DEA numbers listed here with the doctor's names. And then you're going to fill in the first, second, and third value and say if it's invalid. So remember what we did in the exploration on verifying the DEA number, you're going to do the same thing. And if you needed to go back and review it, you could review it over here. Just click on DEA numbers and validating DEA numbers. So you're going to want to remember the letters that go first for the DEA number, and remember that the DEA number's second letter should be the first letter of their last name. When you're going through the chart, if there's any that do not have the first two letters matching, you can just already eliminate them. It does ask for the values, but you should know if they're valid or not after figuring out the first two letters. So remember the process that we did on the other screen. If you need to, you can always go back. So for the rest of that table, the second part is going to be the first value. And then the next part is going to be the second value. And then the next part is going to be the third value. So you're going to want to do that for all of the DEA numbers that are in this file. All right, let's head on over to the exercise questions. So for number 1, for each DEA number listed in data table 1 that you determined was invalid, describe the reasoning for your determination here. If multiple problems exist for a DEA number, be sure to list every issue. So you're gonna want to pull up your table again and copy and paste from it, and then just put why they aren't valid. And it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are invalid. So you want to have all 5 of those listed in your answer. Question 2, what are the 3 ways to determine a DEA number is not valid? So remember, we're checking the first letter to make sure it's the correct letter for the entity type. So for the prescriber, then we're going to check the second letter that matches the first letter of the prescriber's last name or the first letter of the company name. So if it's like a pharmacy, it would be the first letter of the company name. I don't think you have any in there like that. And then perform the calculations to check the 7th digit of the number. So once you get your answers in there, we're going to go ahead and hit next. And we are at the evaluation portion. We're going to go to start evaluation. And the first question is, the blank is primarily responsible for enforcing controlled substance laws and regulations. So based on everything we've been talking about, the answer is going to be the DEA. That's where what we're talking about in this chapter, so it makes the most sense. Drugs that are regulated by federal law are grouped into blank schedules. So remember from the beginning when we moved all the schedules into the right definition. So there's 5. Drugs in Schedule 1 are the only drugs that will be encountered in a pharmacy. So remember that Schedule 1 drugs are not approved for medical use, so we would never have them in the pharmacy. So that is going to be false. The blank of a DEA number should match the name of the prescribing individual or company name. And that is going to be the second letter. So remember, the first letter is just determining if they're the right prescriber type. And the second letter is the first letter of their last name. When validating a DEA number, the sum of the first, third, and fifth digits equals the first value. And that is going to be true. If the first letter of a DEA number is blank, this indicates the prescription was written by a mid-level practitioner, such as nurse practitioners and physician assistants. So remember that nurse practitioners and physician assistants, their DEA number is always going to start with an M. Question 7, in exercise 1, all of the DEA numbers presented were invalid. And that's false. Obviously, there was quite a few valid ones there. And question 8, which of the following DEA numbers could be valid for Dr. Nicholas Michaels? Well, so he's a doctor. So right away we can eliminate M because he's not a nurse practitioner or physician assistant. We can eliminate R because that does not coincide with the right prescribing entity. So then we have B. We have BM and then BN and then the numbers. You don't actually need to perform any math here because we know that BN is going to be incorrect because the doctor's last name starts with an M. All right. For the extension question, personal DEA numbers are assigned to individuals and can only be used by the individual it was assigned to. Institutional DEA numbers are assigned to an institution and therefore may be used by multiple individuals. Therefore, an individual using an institutional DEA number will be assigned a unique institutional DEA registration number suffix, which is added onto the end of the institutional DEA number. So how would the addition of a suffix affect DEA number validation? So you can validate the DEA, the first part. So it's still going to have the 2 letters and the numbers. So you can verify that doing this procedure we've been doing. But when it comes to the suffix, so the institution that is assigning the suffixes to their residents that are in rotation there, they actually keep a database of all of the suffixes assigned to whichever person. So upon request, they can be authorized to be viewable by individuals and agencies, including the DEA and state agencies, to verify the authority of the prescriber. So you can check the beginning numbers for validity, but if you really had to check the last 4 numbers, A request would have to be made to that institution. So that's that. So we're going to hit next. We're going to do agree. I agree with the statement above to submit it. And you see all of your answers again. And then you should be able to go all the way to where you submit and agree that you are submitting it for final evaluation.